talking to you all live, and I'm with here my friend Steve.
This is Steve Stoltz and Nerd Talk. We're here today live bringing you a show.
Talking about the great news. Microsoft beat the FTC, and the Microsoft Activision Blizzard King
The merger
has been approved by the judge. The judge has ruled in Microsoft's favor because the FTC couldn't prove that what Microsoft is doing is anti-consumer, because it's not.
Mind you, in the court case, the word consumer comes up about total 7, 9 times versus the double digits of the word Sony.
Yeah, so the deal will most likely go through by July 18th, which is on a Tuesday. The FTC has filed an appeal, but the appeal doesn't have enough time to go through by Friday.
So when it comes to the appeal, they're basically asking for, hey, can we get a retry over here?
Get a retry. They want to delay the deal.
Make sure it was done right.
If they delay the deal, then Microsoft will have to pay Activision a $3 billion severance fee. But what's probably going to happen is that Activision will not have them pay the fee, but renegotiate the deal and have it go through at a later date after another court trial with the Ninth Circuit. But they don't have enough time. They don't have enough time because by Friday night or Friday evening, it's going to expire. So what the FTC is doing is kind of a waste of time. And the CMA is now renegotiating with Microsoft and are talking because their deadline is July 29th. And now that the deal is going to go through by July 18th, the CMA and Microsoft are now renegotiating to see what kind of concessions Microsoft can make to make the deal go through with the CMA by July 29th.
One of the things is that the FTC is trying to play, and the FTC is coming off very hypocritical when it comes to the case of Xbox with Activision King.
They're just supporting Sony. That's their problem. They're not being pro-consumer.
No,
if they were pro-consumer,
they're pro-corporation when it comes to certain corporations.
And this is the thing that the judge noticed, and probably other judges are going to see this too, is that if Microsoft and the Activision Blizzard deal goes through, Call of Duty and possibly other Activision and Blizzard properties are going to be on 12 different platforms. Like, so if PlayStation gets their way, Call of Duty is going to be on 3 platforms, which is PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. If Microsoft gets their way, Call of Duty will be on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and like 8, 9 other platforms that are cloud gaming platforms.
So mind you, when it comes to the
Game Pass,
of the court, when it comes to the benefit of the court, that's a total of 18. When it comes to the total,
it's about 12 platforms.
12? No.
12.
Maybe I did my math wrong.
It's 12 platforms, yeah.
When it comes to the favor of the court is strictly for the consumers. That's what the whole trial with the FTC and everyone is about. However, the FTC is not working for the people, not working for the consumers, not working for the consumers, the people itself. They were very clear in cahoots with Sony. They went by with whatever Sony was saying. Sony this, Sony that, Sony would suffer. Sony is the #1 market leader in games currently, as it exists and as it stands. Nintendo, I believe, is number 2. Then if you count PC after that, PC is somewhere between 2 and 3. The point, though, is that Sony wants their way. Basically, Microsoft's having a birthday cake. They want the cake for themselves. That's how it comes off. I'm not a legal expert. I've tagged the channel below in the description. It's Hogue Law. He is someone who will be able to provide you clarity, answers to your possible questions and thoughts and concerns regarding the law.
Yeah, Hogue's Law definitely breaks it down. The video is like an hour and 7 minutes. I haven't watched it yet, but I will.
I fell asleep.
But we know what the argument is. We read the transcripts. We know what the judge said and why the judge ruled in Microsoft's favor, because there's nothing that Microsoft doing is completely anti-consumer. Because Call of Duty is going to be on 12 different platforms for about 10 years. And when after the 10-year thing is up and it's not on PlayStation anymore, it's still going to be on all those cloud gaming services anyway. And cloud gaming is really big in the UK. So a lot of people in the UK are going to be playing it, and that's why CMA is willing to renegotiate, because they looked at the court transcripts, they saw the judge rule in their favor, and they were like, oh, so maybe what we did back in April, or back in May, was probably too soon. Too soon to make a judgment.
When it comes to the consumers, the CMA's responsibility is to focus on the people people of Britain that will be the consumer or the market consumers of England, UK, whatever they call it at this point.
In the UK.
The CMA is right now currently under a lot of scrutiny from their own cabinet of leaders, representatives, parliament, that's the word. Parliament, I do say. Here in the US, the FTC is just an embarrassing show, which has set
on the
up
taxpayer dime too.
on the taxpayer
Like
dime.
on our, which is also very relevant too.
So mind you, that's
It's on taxpayer money.
That's your money. That
That's
you
all
pay
of our
in
money.
taxes. That's his money. He pays in taxes, and my money I pay in taxes. That's everyone's money that we pay in taxes being used up for political
Wasting
theater.
people's time.
Wasting people's time and unnecessarily
And even making a
clogging up the courts.
even making a scumbag like Bobby Kotick look sympathetic, which is just sad. That's just really sad on the FTC's part. Like,
Mind you, what bothers me is that their so-called expert had no idea what the hell he's talking about.
no, that was the witness that they came to testify ended up testifying in support of Microsoft indirectly because he was under oath, so he was just being honest. But he was called as a witness to help the FTC, and the guy didn't help the FTC at all. He helped Microsoft's case. And it was like,
the witness probably saw everything. Was like, no,
Yeah.
you got a dead case. I'm going.
and
to
also the
Microsoft.
judge and other judges are going to look at this too. Is that Microsoft is very open and honest about them wanting to control the market and keep Sony from cornering the market on everything because they heard that Starfield was going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive.
And Xbox, which
and-
is below, which is behind on a lot of exclusive IPs.
Yeah.
Anything to warrant people to
No, but
want to go
but that's
buy
the thing.
an Xbox.
They
Game Pass.
heard that Starfield was going to be only an exclusive for the PlayStation 5. And so Microsoft bought Bethesda to avoid all that.
No, ZeniMax. The parent
Yeah,
company,
ZeniMax. Yeah,
which
ZeniMax.
owns Bethesda.
Which
like
owns
nine
Bethesda.
other
But
companies.
the point is that Microsoft bought ZeniMax to own Bethesda because they didn't want Starfield to only go to PlayStation 5. So, but they were honest about that. They admitted that, yeah, we also want to control the market and have a big place here, and we don't want Sony to have everything.
Mind you, I want to mention that in the whole trial,
You know, they
Lena Khan
admitted
and the
that.
FTC were like, oh, Xbox has all the money to spend because they're part of Microsoft, and Phil Spencer told them no, they're actually a separate subsidiary division of Microsoft. Yes, they have
but they
some
no, but
money,
they
need to make the business model profitable.
Yeah, but Microsoft said
to be able to continue existing under Microsoft's umbrella.
right. But Microsoft said under law, under oath, that yeah, we bought ZeniMax to own Bethesda so that Starfield doesn't become a PlayStation 5 exclusive. They were honest about that because they didn't want to be singled out and not miss out on any potential sales or revenue or whatever from the game. And they were honest about that. And they said under oath many times, and the judge was fine with their honesty. She just had a problem with Sony crying victim because what's happening now is stuff that they've done for
decades,
for about a decade. It's gotten even worse under Jim Ryan, and she just saw that the FTC was being anti-consumer, not really pro-consumer, and being biased towards Sony instead of just focusing on consumers. Your job is to focus on consumers, not to be buddy with a corporation.
This
So
was
that's what
this was an
Sony.
in-house trial, right?
Yeah,
That's the worst part is that you got beat in your own house.
yeah.
The FTC
And the judge, people were trying to say that she was compromised because her son works at Microsoft, but the FTC because she disclosed that back in April, and the FTC had an opportunity to tell her to recuse herself and get another judge, but they didn't think it was a big deal, so it's too late for that.
So mind you, even if they do request an appeal and have her dismissed from the trial, which is going to be a long process itself, it'll not happen because you're going to have other judges. You're going to have the appeals court take a look at the trial to see if it was done correctly. If it was done correctly, they're going to come back down and say no.
And her ruling was ironclad. Her ruling was based on the evidence that was presented, and it was. They have until Friday, which is not enough time. But even if they were to delay the deal and go to Ninth Circuit, Microsoft and Activision are prepared to go through it all over again because they want this deal to go through. Activision does not want Microsoft to pay a $3 billion separation fee. Yeah, I know that they did. They fired an appeal today, like 3 hours ago. But they don't need to. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, they don't want Microsoft to pay the $3 billion severance, and they'll just renegotiate, go through it all over again, go back in court in August, and then go through it all over again and prove their case.
Well, no. Bobby Kotick said if this doesn't pass, they're just going to walk away.
No, Bobby Kotick said they're not going to walk away. They're going to renegotiate.
Oh, I must have missed that one.
They're going to renegotiate because they're going to reject the $3 billion payment, and they're going to renegotiate and then just go through it all over again. They said that today. They were like, yeah, we'll just go through it all over again because we won. We actually got a ruling in our favor, which means we could do this again. And the conversation with the CMA is going really well. So
think of it like this. Meanwhile, you have the schoolyard bully, which is the FTC. I'm not trying to say they're a bully. They're trying to be a schoolyard bully. The attempted bully to be got their ass whooped in front of the world, in front of the schoolyard. And you got the popular kids now talking to Microsoft and like, hey, what's all about that? Exciting, no?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's good. It's, I mean, and I'm not pro big tech controlling everything and owning everything and consolidating everything.
Listen,
but the FTC's argument was terrible. Sony's argument was terrible. The case was their arguments were completely terrible, so they deserve to lose. If you're making arguments this bad, you deserve to lose.
I'm not pro company. I dislike companies as it is because all it takes is one slight little shift in whatever scale they want, and things go from bad or things go good or things can get worse. However, when it comes to the court trial, this was horrible. I've served jury duty a couple times already. I can tell you, it's horrible how they even thought this was a case at all that they could bring to court and win. And on top of that, waste not only taxpayer expense, waste the court's time, clog up the court when there could be other trials occurring that are of bigger importance or of more severity. However, it just goes to show under the current leadership with the FTC, it's been a laughingstock. Meanwhile, while the trial was occurring, the case was approved, I believe, in China, South Africa, as well.
Yeah, South Africa approved it. America just approved it. I mean, after the judge ruled in Microsoft's favor. The UK is renegotiating.
With Microsoft.
There's like 39 countries that have approved the deal. 39. There's 39 countries. 39 countries have approved the deal.
New Zealand has yet to approve it.
And Microsoft can get the deal done July 18th without the UK if they choose to do that. And the CMA said that that's actually okay. They could do that. So, yeah.
What's the Court of Appeals over in England? They're looking at this with a heavy scope because Parliament is currently trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
And this went on for too long because of Call of Duty. Call of Duty, which is the biggest first-person shooter IP in the world, was the straw that broke the camel's back for Sony, and that's why Sony went after Microsoft to try and stop this because they wanted Call of Duty to keep selling on Sony and keep making that money. If Microsoft was going after EA to buy EA, no one would fucking care. No one would care because most people hate EA because EA sucks, and they have IPs and properties that, other than FIFA, are not anywhere near as successful as Call of Duty. Like EA mostly has FIFA. BioWare hasn't had a hit since Dragon Age 3.
I would say 2. No,
3.
Inquisition was the last hit.
That's 3,
and then
yeah.
Before that, no, because
Dragon Age Inquisition is basically Dragon Age 3. But yeah, that was their last success. Everything else has been a disappointment and a dud, especially Anthem. What else does EA have?
Anthem had potential. The problem with Anthem was
EA doesn't have the Star Wars.
Playing the game, you really felt and you really experienced it firsthand. Yeah, the story was bad. I don't know who they had to write the story.
Well, EA also doesn't have the Star Wars license either.
Thank God.
I mean, if Microsoft were to buy Ubisoft, fine.
No, Ubisoft won't sell because what's his name, Guillermo.
Oh, that's up to the family. They all have to decide on that, but they're not selling anytime soon. But if they were, it wouldn't really amount to anything.
Well, see, it's kind of
Because Sony isn't that hard, isn't that connected to Ubisoft. Ubisoft's games don't sell that much. They just make a lot of money because of microtransactions, and they're in a lot of debt right now because they've had disappointing sales for most of their games late in 2022 into 2023, and their stocks are down.
Well, when it comes
and now CDPR is back to being number one in Western Europe. Like,
when it comes to Ubisoft, Microsoft wouldn't really own it because Tencent has a large ownership stake in it.
yeah.
So no, but the point is though is that the FTC.
All this just happened because of Call of Duty.
All of this was because Call of Duty, and Call of Duty is not your must-have. So the fact that Jim Ryan went to FTC to complain about that.
Well, it's because Call of Duty still sells really well.
It sells really well.
It's still the biggest first-person shooter franchise of all time. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 sold 30 million copies in less than 2 months. And that came out last year in October. By now, it's probably sold 50 million copies. And who knows how much money was spent with Warzone 2 and microtransactions. Warzone 2 is just a massive disappointment. But that's not the point. The point is, Sony, PlayStation 5 Sony makes a lot of money off of Call of Duty. And they're worried that Sony Call of Duty will be gone off of PlayStation consoles. But as Microsoft made it clear, and Phil Spencer swore under oath
on a Bible in a testament.
Which, as an atheist, he didn't have to do that. But he could have just sworn on a Constitution by law. By law, atheists don't have to swear on a Bible. We swear on a Constitution. But he did it anyway. And so he said, yeah, Call of Duty will be on PlayStation 5 for 10 years.
PlayStation 5 for 10 years. It's PlayStation 5, 6, 7, 8 going on always.
And a judge can't rule on a hypothetical in 10 years from now because Jim Ryan probably won't even be CEO by the end of this year.
That's true.
But the way things are going, the guy who's complaining the most might not even have a job. With that, if the deal completely
Jim
goes.
Ryan is when it comes to the deal, the most likely individual that's going to lose their job is Jim Ryan.
If the deal completely goes through, Jim Ryan as CEO of the video game portion of Sony might be gone. So
I don't think it's just that because
for the video game side, because this was embarrassing. People now know Sony's dirty laundry. Sony is now being questioned by American governments for them controlling almost about 95% of the gaming market in Japan. European governments as well. For Sony controlling 95% of the gaming market in Japan, and Nintendo is like right there.
Nintendo. I'm gonna argue this. I'm gonna make this as an argument, and it may come off rather.
They even revealed their financials too by accident, which they spent $200 million making Horizon Forbidden West, and $200 million on what was the other game?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
No, Horizon Forbidden West.
What was the other game?
And they spent. Oh, I know. The Last was Part 2.
Oh, Last.
They spent two, and both games were hugely successful, but they did not want their personal budgets to be out there in the open, and now everyone knows. This is embarrassing, and so I don't expect Jim Ryan to keep having a job.
I expect it to be gone. I expect the Japanese branch of Sony, which is the parent company of Sony PlayStation.
They're the gaming. That's the main gaming guys.
Yeah. So the parent company, which is in Japan, they're pissed. And I don't mean I don't mean like how Americans say, oh, Americans are pissed, like oh, pissed or whatever. No, it's a disrespectful, discourteous, and dishonorable manner in which how Jim Ryan has now put Sony in a position that they're now getting a negative eye from the West. And on top of it, there's a certain rule in business that Japanese conduct.
Yeah.
It's professional and it stays that way. Nothing is revealed. Even if one thing is revealed, the person in charge is gone.
5 days of that court case, we got more gaming news out of a court case than what we got in any of the gaming showcases the last 3 months.
Or E3.
I mean it's crazy. At one point, I thought Bloodborne was going to be mentioned. I thought that was going to be brought up as far as PC because Sony is doing a PC portion.
I believe. The PC portion came out, and during the case, it said the Bloodborne was mentioned in a PC release at some point, which was.
But the way things are going, I thought we were going to get even more gaming announcements, and they also announced that Elder Scrolls 6 is supposed to come out by 2026.
Yes.
Which I think is too soon for that game. That game ain't coming out until 2027, 2028.
I'd say 2028 is the latest, but then again, Microsoft has the engineers on hand to provide the assistance and support.
No. Bethesda is using their same core guys that they've used for 30 years.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they have the engineers on hand if Bethesda needs the
if Bethesda needs additional stuff, but Bethesda is now, because their games have gotten so big and so massive and they're so much more expensive, it now takes a long time for them to release games now. This is true for a lot of gaming studios. What used to take 2 to 3 years is now taking 5 to 8 years. No, or 7 to 8 years, you know, and
or in the case of Cyberpunk, a decade.
And Todd Howard basically said he's going to retire after they do Fallout 5, and that Fallout 5 isn't coming out until 2033 or 2034.
So understand this. Hopefully Bethesda will have somebody as a leader, a CEO, who is not going to tell you our engine is about 3 decades old, 3 generations old. It still works.
Yeah, and I hope the Starfield is great, but that game is going to be broken on.
I was looking,
like every single awesome trailer and deep dive they've shown, every clip has a performance issue. There's frame rate drops. There's slowness. There's skittering stuff going on screen. So while the game could have a great story, and I feel there's going to be some fantasy elements. There's a clip where your main character is doing telekinesis or is becoming like a Jedi and using some sort of power to blow people away or trying to kill you that's connected to the alien artifacts. Okay, I get it. This is going to be like Elder Scrolls, but we're in space. But there's already performance issues, and I will live stream the whole thing. It's gonna be great.
Oh, I can't wait to play it on my Xbox.
I can't wait.
I don't know if I'll live stream.
It's gonna be
Xbox.
so fun.
I don't know if I'll live stream on the Xbox, but depending on how it goes, I might put it on Kick.
No, I'm gonna live stream it on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna see all the glitches. We will experience it all together.
Well, that's the problem. It's the premise. Whatever the word, I don't know the word now. I'm too tired. I woke up from a nap and I was like, I'm exhausted. I gotta go do a video.
I was like, dude, you're napping, bro? I mean, time is money. We can't be napping.
Money, no, but in the case,
I never nap.
I explained all the curls.
I know. I never.
All the curls, no naps.
At best, I rest my eyes if it's strained. I don't nap. Like it's.
See,
like,
if my eyes are strained, what I do is I don't nap. I just go. I'm up.
Yeah. It's just so funny. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's the whole thing. But Microsoft gotta get their houses in order. They gotta be more hands-on because look, they deserve to win this. They need to be more hands-on because they have games, but their games are like broken. Their last release that released almost perfectly was Forza Horizon 5.
No.
That game had great optimization. It worked. And it was a but that was a smaller game. I'm talking about their big games, their big properties. Forza Horizon 5 had great optimization. It worked. It was beautiful, great graphics. It sold really well, surprisingly, and it did super well on Game Pass, and it still does. You know, it ended up doing better than Halo Infinite in the long run. And Redfall was just a disaster. I do think a year ago, Phil Spencer should have delayed Redfall by a year and says we're not going to do any online stuff and live service. It's going to be a single player game with maybe some multiplayer components, but it's going to be a single player game. We're going to just make it like that.
When it comes to Redfall, that's a ZeniMax decision. Microsoft.
No, it was Microsoft's decision.
No, ZeniMax.
It was Microsoft's in the end because when they acquired ZeniMax in December of 2000. The people who were making Redfall were hoping that Microsoft would either cancel the game or cancel the online live service stuff. They didn't do it, and the game came out the way it came out.
Well, either way, Microsoft needs to be a little bit more hands-on. I don't mean like hands-on directly, but it needs to be a little bit more hands-on.
Because I don't want to play Warzone 3. Because Warzone 2 was a disaster, and I don't want to play a Call of Duty game that's going to be more broken with less features than what we're dealing with. I mean, Modern Warfare, the new Modern Warfare 2 is a good game, but it's like a 7 out of 10. It has less features than Modern Warfare 2 from 2009. it requires less skill to get good in the game because all you have to do is listen to people's footsteps.
Mind you,
Yeah, you can stay in one spot. You can get 10 kills just listening to footsteps.
Mind you, that the fact that Activision had the audacity to say, when you run, we're gonna hear every step. I'm like,
why?
I can't even crouch and move slightly without going.
Yeah, and there was less like gaming multiplayer modes. And when they released the game, it was harder to find gaming modes than in the demo. Like when I played the demo, it was great because all the gaming modes were right out in the open. You could pick and choose what you want. And when the game came out, it was almost like you had to search for the gaming modes. And then you kind of had to put in what you wanted and pick what you wanted to do what you wanted. Like it was more hard work than it actually needed to be.
It was unnecessarily tedious for something that should have been so simple and straightforward.
And the launch for Warzone 2 was so ridiculous. It was so stupid because they launched Modern Warfare 2, attaching it to Warzone 2 with Modern Warfare 2. So when I tried to play Warzone 2 on the day it launched, I couldn't get into the game. I couldn't play the multiplayer stuff at all with Modern Warfare 2 or Warzone 2 because them trying to implement everything together crashed all the servers, so no one could get on for hours and hours and hours. And I went onto I went on Twitter to tweet, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" And then their what's the stuff customer service thing they got for what's the studio that makes Call of Duty? Infinity Ward. So Infinity Ward had customer service, and there was also
Infinity Ward, Treyarch,
and Activision's customer service were like tweeting to all of us saying, "Don't worry, we're working on the problem." I'm like, y'all just made one of the worst launches ever. Like this is should have released Warzone 2 separately from Warzone 2, not together. I basically canceled the fucking game. I'm like, I spent $70 for nothing.
Mind you,
I still have the fucking game.
I do as well. I need to download it again and finish the story. Problem is, I'm not downloading it anytime soon.
It's 200 gigabytes.
Until the whole issue that is going on with what's his name, Merc, Phase Mercs, whatever his name is. Until that's settled and that is resolved properly.
Nah, Mercs. Nah, he fucked. I mean, he fucked up. I mean, after
we're not gonna address that on this video.
His tweet was just a dumb tweet that happened at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And he's paying the consequences for posting a stupid ass tweet. So, that could get resolved in like 6 months to a year maybe. But
I'm waiting for that to get resolved before I decide to play it again. Right now I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy.
And it's really but even though Merc screwed up, it's hypocritical from Activision because they mistreat their LGBTQ workers like shit. They treat their black and brown people who are workers like shit. They treat the LGBTQ community who are co-workers working under Activision like shit. They treat their female co-workers like shit. So it's just completely hypocritical that Bobby Kotick is going to take a moral stance when the guy has no morals to begin with whatsoever.
Well, anyways, the point is we're gonna get back because we're gonna end the video around maybe 29 and a half. This court case brought to us by the FTC, sponsored by the FTC, paid for on behalf of us, consumers and
our tax dollars, yeah,
has brought to us the conclusion. The reality is that Jim Ryan is gonna be fired at some point in time. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'm sure Sony Japan is currently looking in like, oh, we gotta replace this guy. This guy costs us way too much. Xbox has won the Activision Blizzard King merger deal here in the U.S. So that's gonna happen. Even if the FTC says we're gonna demand an appeal tomorrow, well, they demanded an appeal already today. But if they want it for tomorrow, it's not gonna happen. The courts don't work that way, and it's not that they don't do their job. It's just the courts are clogged up with other issues that are ongoing, present, and foremost, currently existing.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the Activision Blizzard King deal, hooray! Congratulations!
Yeah, good job. Yeah, good job.
Xbox.
Let me see if there's anything that came up with today when the appeal.
Oh, I forgot to text Sony in the video. I'll do that in a moment. FTC says they will appeal to block the Microsoft merger with Activision Blizzard King, which is not going to happen anytime soon. It's going to happen. The merger will go through.
Okay. Yep. No news yet. So we'll see in the next 2 days.
What happens is within the next 2 days,
if it expires, the deal's going to go through July 18th because the judges in the Ninth Circuit have to review it, and
mind you, the judges
they filed it Wednesday night, so either someone's going to be traveling all night to go there or not. So they got until tomorrow, really.
If they don't get an answer on their appeals is not going to be granted.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Congratulations to Microsoft. They did a good job. They got a great case. They had a great argument, and it is what it is. It's like, if you want to stop big corporations from taking over, make a better argument and actually be pro consumer. Or if you are going to take the position of being pro consumer, don't do it under the guise of being pro one platform.
Yeah, because FTC's approach the case was, well, they're market leaders, they should stay that way. For the consumers was extremely anti-consumer. The idea that I have to go to them just.
And if this doesn't go through, Activision Blizzard King could sell to Amazon, and that's not good, because if Jeff Bezos decides that gaming is boring and not bringing in the revenue that I want, he could just shut everything down and either sell those studios or shut them down. And that's not good for gamers and consumers either, because most people love those IPs and they love those properties. People want to play Diablo games. People want to play Call of Duty games. And they love to play Overwatch. There's still Overwatch fans out there. So if they go to Amazon, and Amazon in like 5-6 years says, fuck it, we're out. I mean, because Microsoft is gung-ho about video games. Bill Gates and Phil Spencer are completely gung-ho on gaming. That's not changing until maybe 20 years from now.
30.
So,
I go 30.
yeah, so you are guaranteed to have games if Microsoft owns Activision Blizzard King.
And on top of that, it's not just Call of Duty. It's not just Diablo. Your possible chances of getting StarCraft, World of Warcraft, better expansions, better updates.
And it's hilarious that Diablo isn't even in the conversation, because Diablo's been killing it as much as Call of Duty in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, Diablo Immortal's brought in $1 billion in terms of microtransaction, which isn't a good thing, but that's happened. And Diablo 4 is an immense success. It has great optimization. It works, and people love the game, love the story. It's the best Blizzard game in 15 years, or since Overwatch. I mean, it's since Overwatch 1, right? And since Overwatch 1 came out in 2016. So really, you have to go back to World of Warcraft 3, maybe. I mean, to find
World of Warcraft 2, Diablo.
No, World of Warcraft 3 was beloved and successful. It's not as beloved as the first 2 games, but yeah, I mean, this was a big hit. This was a big one for Blizzard. So yeah.
So congratulations to Xbox, Blizzard, Activision King. Round of applause, buen aficionados. May your merger go through, and even if you have to close on without the UK, do so right away. That way, the FTC, if they were to get an appeal, that they'll be like, "Oh shit, they already merged. We can't do much."
Yeah.
You can't unbake a cake that's already baked. It's kind of
right.
It's redundancy right there. But anyways, this is the thoughts that I have, that I share with Brian. We don't have the exact same thoughts, but we share a lot of similarities with these thoughts. We're gonna let you guys go here. We're gonna do another video. We're gonna cover some other topics. We wanted to do a standalone video.
Yeah.
Movies, Disney, Star Wars, whatever. But we're gonna do a separate video for that. So, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm gonna do a non-spoiler review of Mission Impossible 7 in the next video.
Oh, next week.
Well, the next video we're doing right now. Are we doing a video?
Yes, right after this.
Okay, right after this.
So, ladies and
All right,
my name is Steve. I'm from
we'll see you all in a bit.
Nerd Talks. We'll see you again soon. Stay tuned.